everyone, this is Katie the Novel Stitcher. It is Sunday, January 28th, and this is Flosstube number 28. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining. If you're not subscribed already, I hope you will consider subscribing. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for being here with me again. I'm so happy to start getting back into a regular rhythm of floss tubes. My last episode was about a month ago, and it was a whip parade for everything I worked on in 2023. So if you haven't seen it yet, feel free to go and check that out if you want to see all of my whips, and my husband Alex joins me in that one if you want to see him. Just hoping to get back into the rhythm of regular floss tubes. January was a pretty busy month, but I'm hoping things will calm down a little and I'll get more stitching time and more filming time. And so today we're going to dive right into the stitching, then we'll do a little bit of life update, and then I actually have some books to share because I've been doing some reading. So let's just dive into the stitching. So far this year I have 1 new start and 3 focus whips that I've been working on this year for me, especially this winter. I'm calling it a winter of whips, really focusing on the projects that I have on the go and really making some substantial progress on those. I love starting new things, but I really want to focus on getting some projects finished and displayed in our house, and just really concentrating on what I have. But what I'm going to allow myself to do is once a quarter I get a new start. I think Bridget the Museum Stitcher is doing that, and Megan the Seattle Stitcher, and probably a few others. So they inspired me to have that like freebie new start. And then I can also do a new start for every 2 to 3 whips that I finish. And so that will allow me to start new things, but kind of give me a baseline for like when to start new things and making sure I'm making progress on what I have. So that is the plan for the start of the year, at least for winter, and into early spring. And if things switch up and a lot of things come out that I want to start, you know, I'll allow myself to be flexible. But I really want to focus on the whips I have and getting some good progress on things. And so let's dive into what I worked on the past month. So the first thing I have is my new start for Q1. This is, and I'll put a picture here, Teresa Kogut's Hometown Sal. This is through Teresa's Patreon. And if you're not familiar with Patreon, it's a platform that a lot of creators and artists are on. And it's kind of like you join, they create kind of like a club, and you join their club, you pay monthly, and you know, every designer or artist is different in what they offer, but Teresa offers every month 3 new patterns, a ornament you can buy for a few bucks, access to a secret stitch store that has all of her past Patreon releases that you can buy for a discounted price. She does exclusive videos and some live streams, tutorials and other content. So it's really, for me, worth it. Teresa is very involved in her Patreon, very active, and I think that what she offers is really great. So there's different tiers at different price points. I am a tier 4, so 20 bucks a month, and you get all this kind of content that goes with paying for that, which for me, it's worth it. And she always does stitch alongs. This one is a 2-year stitch along, which is a bit of a commitment, but it's a pretty big pattern, and she's trying to release it in chunks that you can really get done within each month. So each month you'll get a new piece of the pattern and then get to kind of see it all come together. So 2 years is a commitment, but I think it'll be worth it. I think it's going to be really cool. And as it states, hometown, it's gonna be a little town. I think it's based on a old quilt or fabric pattern she had many years ago. I think it's gonna be really cute. She said there's gonna be a stitch shop and a bookstore and a church and an ice cream shop and all those kind of little things you'd find in your hometown. So this will be really my first big full stitch along where part of it is revealed, or mystery stitch along where a part of it is revealed every month, and you kind of get to see the pattern come together and stitch it. So this is my start. I'm doing this on a 40 count platinum. I'm doing 1/2, and I'm using Teresa's called for DMC. I'm using my little needle minder, little flying pig from Rebel Stitcher Designs, and that's my progress so far. So not a ton, but working on that weeping willow there and the little bird on top, and just I was gonna say take it slow. I think I want to try to keep up with it, but we'll see. She is trying to make it, you know, a reasonable or doable amount of stitching each month, so I don't want to fall super far behind because I want to try to keep up as much as I can. So this one will definitely get a lot more love in the coming weeks, but I think it's going to come out really great. I think her called for fabric is Fox and Rabbit Up in the Attic, which I have, but I do not have a big enough piece of, and it's more like a reddish color. Mine is especially red, I think, the dye lot I got, and I just didn't quite think it would work. Regardless, it's not the right size. So I was going back and forth on what linen. She had done a Flosstube that you can only watch if you're a Patreon member, suggesting different fabrics, some grays, some other browns, but I decided to go with this platinum. I think it's perfectly neutral. I think all of the colors will show up well on it. There's probably only one or two colors that are like a similar beige that might need to be switched out for something a little darker just so they show. But, you know, with something this large that's going to hang in my house, I wanted it to be on a lighter fabric. I didn't want it to be too dark or too primitive. It'll be a primitive design, but I didn't want the fabric to be too dark, because my house is, maybe you can see a little bit, is very white, light brown, and then we have a lot of gray and blue. So I just wanted to pick a fabric that would really work out for displaying it in the house. So that is my little bitty start on Teresa Kogut's Hometown Stitch Along. And here's all the floss if you want to see. I need to put more of this on bobbins. This is my current floss storage situation. Probably not the best, but you can tell that there's a lot of DMC, but that's okay. She did say that she might do the occasional fancy floss, and she would just like let us know as sections are released if she decides to switch out the DMC, as I think she herself is probably stitching it along with us. So we'll see if I decide to do any of the fancy floss, but it's great that she released all the DMC colors. Easy and affordable, and I wanted to choose a fabric from stash, so I'm glad that that platinum is large enough, because it is a fairly large pattern. So that is my new start for Q1. And so now we'll get into whips. I have 3 whips because I've been trying to really focus on things, and this one is like so close to being done. And this is Cottage Needleworks, the bookstore. Very cute. Alex got this for me for Christmas, maybe? He got this for me, I know. I think it was for Christmas a couple years ago. So that's really cute. I did not do the borders. So I didn't do this border here or the white border there. I just didn't think it was necessary. And this one, let me just double check the fabric, because it's an Aida, and I think it's a 6 full, is it a 16? It's an 18 count, okay. It's an 18 count. Is it an 18 count? I guess so. Beautiful beige, Aida. And so that's my progress. I got my little bookstore needle minder, and it's so close to being finished. It's a little crooked in the Q-snap, so don't mind the crookedness, but I just love how the colors pop. I love how this house looks and the trees. It's so cute. It's gonna look so pretty going up in my office slash where all my books are slash where all my stitchy stuff is stored. That room is still coming together in the house, but this is gonna look so cute either on the wall or sitting on one of my bookshelves. So I really just have to finish up the roof, which is really not that much more stitching. I have to do the books in here, and then these windows need fill in. And then I forgot a leaf. Where did I forget the leaf? Maybe I didn't forget a leaf. I think I thought I forgot a leaf here, but the bird is there. So I guess I didn't, because I don't think there's a leaf where that bird is, but I gotta finish him. He's not finished yet. And I think that might be it. So just him, and the roof, and these windows, and this bookshelf. And this one will be done. So my plan this afternoon, while playoff football is on, is to hopefully finish this. And then I will have to figure out how I want to fully finish it. Maybe a white frame would be cute. Could do a different kind of finish than just framing it, but I think for this one, a white frame might be really pretty. So I'm very excited that this is almost done, and that will be my first finish of 2024. That one's fun. I like Cottage Needleworks. They're very just easy to follow patterns, really cute. So that is that one. And then the next one I worked on, because I know that I'm really close to getting this one done, and this is actually my oldest whip. I started this one on my birthday in September 11th in 2022. So this is From the Heart Needle Art by Wendy, her September Quaker. and so she has a Quaker for every month of the year, and I just decided to do September because it's my birthday month. And sorry for the glare, it's cloudy out, but I decided to film this here because I get nice light from the windows, despite you seeing my kitchen. I could film in my office slash craft room slash book room, but we want to paint the walls. I don't love the color of the walls, and there's not a ton of natural light in that room. Unfortunately, there are windows, but the way they face, there's just not a ton of light that comes in. I'll probably start filming in there at some point, but for now, I think the kitchen is a nice place to film. Just means Alex has to stay quiet upstairs, but he's good about that. But this one, I switched up the colors. So blue is my favorite color, and my September birthstone is a sapphire. So I decided to use shades of blue. And so here is my progress on this. And I think this pops a little bit more. It's a little bit lighter in person, but this is on a 25 count Lugana vintage country mocha. And that's the progress there. So I have to finish this on the side down here, and then my needle minder's in the way. There's a lot more fabric down here. My Salty Yarns needle minder, but there's like a whole flower and a design down here that I have to do, but it's really not that much. There is quite a bit of just counting to be careful to count with this one, with the different Quaker designs, but because it's on a 25 count, 2 over 1, yes, it goes fast. This is like easy to stitch, especially when you're feeling a little bit tired. So that is September Quaker, and I think people have asked me which colors I am using. So I am using DMC 415. It's this light, almost silvery blue. The dark blue is 930. And then the medium blue, if I can find, is it not written on here? Oh no, Katie. It is not written on the bobbin, but you know what? It's written in my little book. I don't know why I didn't write that on the bobbin. 158. So 415, 930, and 158. So that's the DMC I'm using for September Quaker. So again, not too much more to go there. Just finishing this flower down here. Oh, and I got this guy. And then that one there is like, I have like that part to do, this row. And then there is like this. And I don't think I stitched that. I don't think I really need that. It's up here. So I think I'm just not going to stitch that, just to save me time, and also because I think I like how it looks without it. So yeah, that's September Quaker. And then the last one I worked on, I don't know if I have a big enough board. We'll see how I do holding this up. I took it out of the Q-snap so I wouldn't be covering some of it up, but this is Winter Rose Manor by Brenda Jervais. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this one, and a lot of you have stitched this one. Absolutely beautiful. Great winter stitch. And I am doing this one, let me double check. It's a 36 count. Sorry. I thought I had this all like memorized. And you think you have it memorized, and then you're looking at it and you're like, I don't know. And in case you all are curious, I've shared this before in my past couple videos, but I use Cross Stitch Journal from Fat Quarter Shop, and it just allows you to write down like your pattern, the designer, all that information, and there's a key at the beginning. And so project number 9, Winter Rose Manor, I started this December 27th, 2022, and I'm using a 36 count summer khaki linen. And I did actually track my time for this for a long time, but I've stopped kind of tracking my time. I just forget to. Some people are really good at like tracking how many stitches they do and tracking their time, and I just sit down and start stitching and don't even pay attention to like what time I start stitching or what time I finish or any of that. I think this board will actually work perfect. Okay, so there we go. That's our progress on Winter Rose Manor. Coming along pretty well. So the last time you saw this, at least in trying to get it on this like a little bit straighter. I made like some good progress. I did mess something up and had to frog a decent part of it, but so the cardinal, he was done, and I realized I hadn't finished making the roof come all the way down here, so I had him going off the roof like up here, and he was just going to be in the totally wrong space. And sometimes I try to fudge it, but in this case I felt like I would have to fudge like the whole house. It would just be off, and I just couldn't I couldn't fudge an entire house, and like I just didn't want to have any kind of chance of me mucking up this pattern because it's beautiful and it's big, and if I had to rip out a huge section of it, I would probably just abandon it. So I just frogged out the cardinal. We'll started to put him back in. Since last time you saw it, I added a few more of these flowers on the border. I think this is as far down as the border goes. And then I did a lot of the house. So I did the whole roof. Love that variegation. Do not ask me what color the roof is. I do not remember. And then I got the windows. I'm trying to fill in all the windows and then just be able to do fill in for the color of the house. So get all the windows done, get that whole outline, and then just be able to fill it in. Probably make the house go the fastest. I haven't stitched like a full huge house yet. There's one pattern I had, an autumn pattern, where I think I finished the house on that one, but this house is bigger than that one. So I'm really loving it. I think it's absolutely beautiful. There is a flower missing up here that I need to get back to because I jump around and then I don't do things, and I don't want to forget to do that. And I really like it. And I will say, for the house, the called for, I think, is Conch by Weeks Dyeworks. And I started stitching on the house, and I was realizing that Conch is almost the exact same color as this basket. It's kind of like a beige, yeah, like a beige, platinum beige kind of color. And so I was like, I don't know if I want the house to be that color, because really, in the pattern, it's much more pinky. And you can tell the difference between this and the house. They're not the same color, and this just looks so pink and cute. And so I decided to switch out the color, and I was trying to think of what I wanted to do. So I posted about it on Instagram, just that I was gonna pick a new color. And Cross Stitch Caitlin told me that she was using Weeks Dyeworks Chablis. And so that's what I decided. Sorry, I'm out of practice here a little bit. I'll go with. So it's hard to tell, probably because it's gray and cloudy out, but it's a pink with like a light kind of maroony purple, but very pale kind of purple, which I actually, at first I wasn't sure of. I bought this one and I bought a couple other pinks, and I was just gonna see what I thought would work best. And some of the other pinks were like too pink. I didn't want it to be like Barbie pink or like really bright pink. And so I think like the hint of purple just gives it like that wintry feel. I think it's really pretty. So thank you, Caitlin, for your suggestion. If you're not watching Cross Stitch Kate, definitely check her channel out. She is lovely and has absolutely beautiful stitching and obviously good taste in conversion colors, because this is the perfect color for this house. So I'm really excited that I can get going on the house now that I have that new color, and I really love it. I just think that it's beautiful. So I'm gonna do this and hope that I can use that as the cover image. But yeah, this one's coming along really nicely, and we'll see how quickly I finish it. I mean, there's still a lot to do. The border might be even further down than I think. So I do have to finish this border. I have to finish this whole border and add in like another flower here. I have to redo the cardinal and the other one and like all of this down here, and as well as the whole house, you know. So it's gonna take me some time. It'd be cool if I could finish it this winter, like in the meteorological winter. Is March when spring is? Probably. So, but that would be a lot of stitching on just this one. So we'll see. But I am enjoying it, so that makes it a little bit easier when you enjoy what you're stitching on. And I think that project goes to two things, which is The first is like if you are stitching something and a color just doesn't seem like it's gonna work out, really think about it like as you're starting out stitching, because like if you are looking at a color and you're like, I don't know, but I'll keep going, don't go too far. Because I was talking about this with some friends. I got together with some stitchy friends. We'll go into life update a little bit right here. I do have a tiny bit of haul, one plan that I want to show. But yesterday I got together with some of the lovely ladies that I met at the Sweater Weather Cross Stitch Retreat in Philly last October. It's happening again in 2024. So if anyone is in the Philly area, check that out. It was a really lovely, just relaxing, very nice, very just like focused on stitching and hanging out kind of retreat, which is very much the kind of retreat I think I'm into, just very relaxed and low-key. But we got together yesterday at Panera, me and Sally and Colleen. So hi, Sally and Colleen. It was lovely, really nice afternoon, and we just sat and stitched and talked. And one of the things we talked about is sometimes the colors, you know, in the photos don't really translate either onto the fabric you're using, or the dye lot's changed, or you're just maybe not feeling it. And so I think, you know, as I start new things, including that Teresa Kogut, because I'm using a color that's a fabric that's quite different than what she chose, being really intentional about looking at how the colors are coming together and what's gonna work and what maybe needs to be switched out, and not being afraid to just decide like this call for isn't gonna work, so I'm not gonna use it. I think you trust the designer a lot of the time because you think because they know what they're doing and they understand color better than most of us. But you know, sometimes, again, dye lots change, the color of the fabric, the way things photograph, maybe it makes it look different and you like that look better. So I'm just gonna be intentional about like thinking about the colors that are used and like, is this working for me, or should I do something different, and not just saying, well, the designer chose this, so I can't change it. Like, obviously you can do whatever you want. And then the other thing about this one is just like the time it takes to stitch something this big, and me wanting to focus on whips this year, but especially this winter, but also wanting to stitch what I feel like stitching on, have variety in my stitches, because I'm not and haven't been a monogamous stitcher. I really like just like switching things up and doing things based on my mood. Do I want to do something on a 36 count with fancy floss that's more detailed, or do I want to do something like easier and quick, or on an aida or a lugana that's like a little bit easier to see depending if I'm tired or what mood I'm in. And also what comes with having a floss tube, which means if I only stitched Winter Rose Manor, you would see like progress, a lot of progress on that one, but my video would be 5 minutes long. So I'd be like, here's Winter Rose Manor, it's beautiful, there's all the progress, have a nice day. So, you know, I think take into consideration when you're seeing what I'm showing, and the fact that I'm not monogamous or jump around, or I don't make a ton of progress on the bigger ones, is in part because that's how I like to stitch, and in part because if I want to do a floss tube, I feel I need to have things to show, and it's my choice to do the floss tube. So if I felt like, you know, that's not working for me, I could post once a month or every other month, or do what I want. So just keep that in mind, that that's why I do what I do, I suppose. Let's do my little bit of haul. I have one plan, thanks to hanging out with Colleen and Sally yesterday. Maybe later today after I finish the bookshop, there's another project I want to stitch on. But I did have a gift card left over from the holidays, and so I did place an order from Hollis Hands Creates. So I've decided one of my favorite needles is Peacemakers. I really like these. I like the feel of them. I like the way they go through the fabric. I don't know, I just like them. And so these are size 28. I like the smaller ones. So just if you're looking for needles and haven't tried Peacemakers, maybe you might like them too. So that's what I have been using lately. And then I got 36 count Mirage. It doesn't say who this is by, so I'm assuming, oh, I think it's a Picture This Plus, PTP, Picture This Plus, yeah. So I just thought that was pretty. No idea what I'm gonna stitch on it, but I like the modeling, and like a darker color, maybe good for like a Halloween stitch or something like that. So I got that, just a little, what, 8x12 piece. And then I've not decided what I'm going to stitch this on or when I'm going to do it, but I do want to try 46 count. I just want to experiment. I do want to try some new stuff this year, new designers and new fabrics. And so there's just a antique white 46 count linen. So it's really pretty. It's got a nice sheen to it, as you can tell. And yeah, we'll see what I decide to stitch on this, but let me see. Can I see these holes? How bad is this going to be? I'm going to need some good light. Not impossible, but I'm going to need some good light. So I got that. See what I want to stitch on that. Try something very small at first and just give 46 count a try. And if I hate it, I hate it. And then I got a couple patterns. So I thought this one was really pretty, and I like that it's thin and long because I feel like I have a lot of similar sized or similar shape cross stitch projects going. So I like that this is vertical and it's needlework press and be kind to one another. Sorry about the glare. There we go. So I just thought that was really pretty. I don't know if I'll use the called for colors or maybe I'll like brighten it up, make it a little less prim. I'm very much not like a hot pink bright colors, but I definitely like colors and I like softer, brighter colors than maybe what this is. Though again, if I pull the floss, it could look different and they could be a little bit brighter. But it says in the middle, and be kind to one another. And it just has all those little motifs and the alphabet. There's like a teeny little bunny down here. I like this whole part down here. This could even be cute, like it has the year just like on its own if you just below the alphabet just did the bottom part here. Yeah, it's really cute though. And I haven't done anything by Needlework Press. That's a new designer to me. So it's on the list of possible new starts once I get some whips finished. And then the other one I got was the Drawn Thread, the Garden Gate. I haven't stitched anything by the Drawn Thread yet. I think their patterns are just very pretty. And they have like a unique style where you know it's a drawn thread, I think, when you see someone stitching it. I like the idea of doing this like on a blue fabric and just all the little birds and squirrel. And I liked the cat because I have a black and white cat. So I thought that was cute. And I have to decide what floss I'm going to use for this because I think the drawn thread doesn't use... Actually, you know what? They do offer a conversion. I was going to say, I think the drawn thread usually doesn't do DMC. So here they have either dinky dyes or needlepoint silk or maybe both. But it says on the back of the pattern that you can go to their website and they have a DMC and a gentle art conversion. So that's nice. So you can go on their website and do DMC. Or I could just convert it myself. But if they have the conversion already, I will probably just stitch this in DMC and go on their website and get that information, which is nice. Nice when companies offer, especially if you're charting in silks or something like that, to offer the DMC version because, and I was talking about this with Sally and Colleen, just silks are cool. I've never really stitched much with silk. And of course the overdyes are really cool, but sometimes you just want to be cost conscious, and DMC is easy to get a hold of, easy if you switch a color out to do that, easy if you run out to just go buy another skein. You know, if I want fancy floss, I have to order it online and wait for it to come and hope that the colors are what I want them to be. And so, you know, Winter Rose Manor, I'm using all Weeks and Gentle Arts. And there might be one other, it might be like a sampler threads, because like it's beautiful and I understand the need for the want for the variegation and the way those colors look and the look and the feel. And then sometimes like DMC just gets the job done as well as any other floss. So yeah, that was my haul. And I have one plan besides for just working on the 3 things I just showed. So continuing to make progress on the Teresa Kogut mystery style to try to keep up, to continue working on Winter Rose Manor because I really want to get a larger piece done. I haven't really finished a larger sampler yet, so I want to get that one done. hopefully maybe by March I can try. And then the Bookshop today. And I finished that one today. And then the September Quaker I should finish by the end of the month, which will free me up starting in February for a new start if I want to. I don't have to start something, but it allows me to start something if I want to. But another one I want to work on, maybe tonight, is because Sally was working on this yesterday, and it's the Pink Sparrow Sampler by Brenda Jervais. And I actually started this again because Cross Stitch Kate was working on it, or wanted to work on it, and so she started a little join along, stitch along, and so I had been eyeing this for a while, and when she said that, I was like, ooh, I'm definitely gonna pick this one up. I do want to replace the dogs, either with more flowers or try to do a cat. I would have to either find a cat to copy, like in another pattern, or chart one, but I don't know. I feel like I could almost turn this into a cat though, right? But I've never like changed something and charted like that by myself, just doing it. So we'll see. But I don't want to do the dogs, so they're gonna get replaced. So I don't know if it's bad to replace the Pink Sparrow Sampler with a cat, since cats eat birds, but we'll just ignore that fact. These are friendly cats that don't like birds. They just like treats. Yeah. Anyway, I think it's beautiful. I love the colors. It's very like light and soft and springy. And so it's been kind of dreary and cold and snowy and rainy. So I think I just want something that's happy. And this is on Winter White by Seraphim. Let me check. Yes, Winter White by Seraphim Fabrics, and it's again a 40 count. And I have very little progress, which is why I want to kind of get back to this after watching Sally stitch on hers, because she has like a lot of it done. That's my little bitty progress. But it's so pretty. And speaking of DMC, Brenda charted this in what colors, and I think Sally was saying some of the colors weren't exactly what she pictured it being, which again, you know, dye lots change, or things change, or things photographed differently, or, you know. So this is mostly done in 2 weeks, and then Gentle Arts. And when Caitlin was starting this and I wanted to start this, it was getting close to our wedding. I did not want to spend a lot of money on fancy floss, and I just didn't have the patience to wait to order it because I had everything else. So I was like, I can just do DMC. And so I did my own conversion. So there's a lot of colors. I'm not going to go through the whole conversion unless you want it. All you have to do is email me and I will send it to you. But you can get a look at some of the colors that I chose. Very messy floss organization. I need to get better about that, but as long as it's not messing me up or anything, I think it's fine. But yeah, so I did my own conversion and I chose more or less the same colors. I didn't convert it differently from this. You know, I used a blue in place of a blue and a pink in place of a pink. I think the one thing I did do is pastel it up a little bit more. So some of these are darker, and we'll see. Maybe I will change, you know, like that darker color to something a little bit lighter, or like this one here, and really make it more like pastel-y. We'll see how it comes together, and I'll play with the colors as I go along. But I think it's pretty, and so this one will get some attention maybe today. And that's it for the stitching. So if that's all you're here for, thank you for joining. I'll go into life updates and books if you're interested in that, but if not, you can move along to your next Flosstube. I don't have much as far as life updates are concerned. It's been a busy January. We had some water in the basement. It's been really, really rainy in southeast Pennsylvania, or maybe for a lot of the country, or a lot of the Northeast. You know, depending where you live, you might have been experiencing it, especially because the most recent storms like crossed like almost the entire country, got some sort of precipitation. So because of that, we've had some basement issues. It's possible that there were issues before we moved in. It was revealed to us, or they disclosed to us, that there was some water in one of the crawl spaces. They thought they had mostly remediated it. That's not true. And then we had water coming in through a small window in the basement, which was not revealed to us or had not happened before. We're not sure. It seems like it's something that would have happened before, but regardless, we had to get it all fixed. And so they had to come in, rip out one of the walls, and put in a bigger sump pump, and put in some pipes and some other drainage situations, put in a drain in the crawl space, especially because there was quite a bit of water in there, and we do not want any issues with mold or anything. No one wants water issues in the basement. And then unfortunately they had finished all the work, and it was kind of like a long week with them coming in and out of the house, and it was the week it was freezing and then snowing and then raining and all these things, so it was just kind of a messy week. And we wanted to be home in case they needed us. Of course, one of us had to be home, so both of us worked from home most of the time. And so they remediated it, they were gone, and I'm like, good, my house is calm, it's quiet, there's no drilling, there's no banging, there's no men in my house. And then I come home from work one day, the day after they finish, and it had been freezing the night before, like 10 degrees. And I hear like a weird noise, and I'm like, what is that noise? So I go down the basement, there's water, not everywhere, but there's like puddles of water. There's water all along the edge of the carpet down there. There's water near the sump pump. There's water in like another closet area. And I'm like, oh, great. Like they just fixed it. What happened? So I go back upstairs and I hear like a gushing sound. And so I go outside and I realize that one of the spigots, I guess you call it a spigot, the outside thing that you connect a hose to, is just gushing water into the side of the house. And what we think happened is they were mixing cement to fill in the crawl space, and they tried using the one at the front of the house, and it wasn't working, and they didn't shut it off all the way, and it probably wasn't working because it was frozen, and it didn't have one of those special, you can I guess have a certain knob that's like freeze protectant. Didn't have that. We didn't know because we're new homeowners, and we didn't think to turn the water off because we're new homeowners and we're learning. Anyway, it unfroze in the middle of the day while we were both at work. Just started gushing water into the side of the house. So the guy had to come back, and he felt really bad about it and help rip up the carpet and dry everything out and clean everything up. But it was just kind of one thing after another. And then the other night, because we're new homeowners, we have no idea what we're doing, we had like a rotten egg smell in one of the rooms, and we were like, is it a gas leak? Like, we have natural gas. Like, we Googled it, and it was like, the minute you smell that, get out of the house. We called our utility provider, and they came out, and they were like, no, it's fine. Like, we don't see anything. It's been raining and snowing. Like, it could just be like stuff coming up from the ground. I did more Googling and realized it's probably because there's a bedroom downstairs that we don't use as a bedroom. Scout just hangs out in there. And there's a bathroom attached to it that, again, we don't use. And it's probably just because we hadn't been running water hadn't been flushing the toilet or running the taps or anything. So the pipes were just dry, and that was like allowing the smell to come up through the pipes. So at least that wasn't anything we had to fix. And at least like, okay, just run that toilet once a day or whatever. But it's just kind of like those things when you're a new homeowner that you don't think about. My parents are visiting this weekend, so I might just have my dad like poke around and just like tell us like, is there anything else we haven't done that we need to make sure we do to prevent any more situations. But yeah, we do have a handyman now. The plumber or the basement guy recommended a handyman because we have some things we want to do around the house that we need help with, and we'll get there. It's just been a busy January, and work is always busy for Alex pretty much, and he's heading into tax season, so things are going to get a little stressful for him. And then the beginning of the year, I work in marketing, and it's like they want to launch all of the marketing campaigns and do all of these things. And last week was like one of the busiest weeks I've had in my new role, or possibly at my company since I started. Maybe not. There have been other weeks that were like kind of crazy in my last role at the company, but the role I'm in now I thought would be like a little bit calmer, and it had been up until like 2 weeks ago. And then they restructured some of our department, which caused us to like kind of lose a full-time person on our team. And then there's just been a lot going on. So like, I didn't have to work overtime or anything like that, but it was just like the minute I got into work, from the minute I logged off, I was busy. There was like I ate lunch like at my desk while working. So there was no like breathing room. And so then when you get home, you're just tired. And with the basement, I was just tired. So like, it's a decent amount of stitching, but it's been that's like a whole month of stitching that I showed because things have been busy. But I think we're gonna quiet down. It seems like everyone I've talked to has had a crazy January, and so we're not the only ones who are dealing with a lot. But fingers crossed that February is quiet and that tax season, life-wise, will be quiet and Alex can just focus on work and not stress about the other things. So keep your fingers crossed for us that tax season is the worst of it in the next few months. So let's talk about books. I don't think this video is getting too long, so hopefully you stick around if you're interested in books, because when I was too tired to like stitch and I just wanted to be like upstairs in bed, I did do quite a bit of reading. I will also add that my loving husband got me for Valentine's Day a light, a better light for stitching, one of the tall floor lights that I can kind of put over my shoulder, because where I sit on the couch, the end table is on my right hand side, and when I'm stitching with the smaller light that I had, my right hand causes a shadow, and so like it doesn't do anything for me because like there's a whole shadow as I'm stitching, and so I needed something that would kind of like go over my left hand shoulder. And so he bought me an light, and it came yesterday, and I was like, should I wait till Valentine's Day? And he's like, no, open it. And so I opened it, and it's gonna work great, and I think that'll help me do a lot more stitching because I'll just be comfortable and have better light and feel a little less tired when I'm stitching, so that's good. But I still want to make sure I'm reading. So the first book that I finished this year is Midnight at Blackbird Cafe. I don't know where I put the book itself, so I'm just going to put a screenshot here. I think the author is Helen Weber, if I'm remembering, but her name is on the front cover, so you'll see it right there. This was really cute. It was a good book to start the year with. It was like, well, was it the first book of the year, or did I finish Tom Lake this year? I think I finished Tom Lake last year. So this one is kind of, it's fiction, it's a little bit of magical realism, a light read, and it's about this woman named Anna Kate. She, her grandmother passes away. Her grandmother owned the Blackbird Cafe, so Anna Kate moves back to the town where her grandma lived to help run the cafe. In order to get her inheritance from her grandma wants her to stay there for like 3 months and run the cafe, probably full well knowing that Anna Kate would end up wanting to stay in the town. The town is, this is all fiction, but it's in Alabama. It's called Wicklow, so Anna Kate moves to Wicklow. She wants to become a doctor. She's been living in the city, but she moves to Wicklow to take over the cafe, and she meets all the small town quirky characters, and the magical realism comes into effect. This cafe makes blackbird pies, which are just no birds in it. Obviously, it's just various berries, and there are blackbirds in the town. It's unusual to see them in that town, and they all converge at certain times and stuff like that. And basically, like, there's some magic going on where if the pie is baked in a certain way, at night you'll have a dream, and your loved ones, any lost loved ones, will come to you in your dreams, and you'll be able to like see them and communicate with them. And so like that's the magical realism aspect. And it's just about her mom, while she was pregnant with Anna Kate, had to leave the town because her dad was killed in an accident, and people blamed her mom because it was a car crash and her mom was behind the wheel. So Anna Kate had never even really been to the town or associated with these people that her mom had grown up with. And so, like, you know, it's one of those small towns. She moved back to the town. There's past hurts and things that need to be reconciled. There's, you know, family feud there with what happened to Anna Kate's mom and the family of Anna Kate's father who died in the crash and all of that kind of thing. And then there's the magical realism of the blackbirds and the pies. And it was cute. It was a really sweet read. I just thought it was well written. The characters were well developed. I liked Anna Kate most of the time. Sometimes she was annoying, but everybody's got their moments. But it was cute. So I would recommend that one if you're looking for something kind of easy to read. I mean, it's not like super fluffy light, obviously. You know, there's some sad parts, but mostly it's a cute read. So that one I finished. And then right now I'm reading 2 very different books. This one is The Lost Queen by, I'm gonna say her name is Signe, sorry, but by her. And this, it's maybe a little bit fantasy, reading more historical fiction, but like historical fiction fantasy. So basically, this is about a woman named Lagarith and her brother Laocoon, And basically Laocoon is like the man who inspired Merlin, like the wizard Merlin, and this is about his sister. So I think she's real. I think that she's a real person, because it does say rescuing a passionate and brave woman from obscurity. So I think she was a queen. She was a queen in Scotland in the 6th century. So anyway, it's kind of like based on her, but it's very much more fantasy fiction. So based on this lost queen of Scotland and her brother, who is the person who Merlin is based off of, and kind of her life and how she becomes this queen, and her history and all of that. So it's good so far. I am, 70 pages in, 76 pages in. I'm enjoying it. I like the characters, very beautiful writing. It's intriguing me so far, so we'll see. It's quite a thick one, but I'm liking it. And I think it says the first book in the Lost Queen trilogy, so I'm assuming there's more to come. So if you like that kind of thing, history, fantasy kind of stuff, that's a good one. And then that's like my late night before bed, I don't want to have bad dreams book, because the next one is much more serious and has more violence in it, but it's really good so far. So it's Say Nothing by Patrick Radden Keefe, and it's basically about the Troubles in Ireland in the 70s and 80s, but kind of his stepping point into going into everything that happened with the Troubles is the murder of this woman, Jane McConville, who was a 38-year-old mother of 10, and she's just dragged from her home and she's killed, and they don't really know the full story of why or what happened there. And so he uses that as like the catalyst to get into everything that happened during the Troubles. Incredibly complicated. If you don't know anything about the Troubles, I would say maybe just Google it. It's in Northern Ireland. It's both fighting between Protestants and Catholics, and fighting between those who believe that all of Ireland should be independent from England, and then people who believe that, at least in Northern Ireland, that it should remain part of the crown and under English rule. And so like it's kind of like both sides. There's just a lot of fighting. It's very like small pockets of rebels and these organizations that pop up, and like it's because it's not like a country fighting a country, it's like inter-country fighting, but it's not even like the Civil War where like the entire country is split and fighting. It's like these pockets of people fighting each other based on either their religious beliefs or their belief in what England or what Ireland should be and who should rule Ireland. And obviously it's only in Northern Ireland, because Southern Ireland splits from England and becomes its own entity. And I thought to read this. I bought it because I studied abroad in Ireland in 2010, and while we were there, I was in Galway, so I was in Southern Ireland, or the Republic of Ireland, and but through the program, studying abroad, they took us to Northern Ireland and took us on tours and took us on a bus tour of some of the neighborhoods in Northern Ireland. And it's weird kind of to go on a bus tour through people's like neighborhoods and like where people just live normally now, but still see evidence of like the Troubles. Mostly there's like occasional skirmishes, I suppose. There's like occasional little things that pop up, but mostly the violence is over. But you can still see where there's fencing that splits like a Catholic neighborhood from a Protestant neighborhood, like big, tall, bright blue fencing. There's still a lot of murals that they preserved with like people holding guns and various like slogans and language for one side or the other side. And so it's very much still evident in Northern Ireland what happened, even if the fighting is not still ongoing, even though I think occasionally things pop up. But anyway, we learned a little bit about it, but it's so complicated and there's so much involved in why there was this fighting and this violence and everything like that, that like I wanted to read this to like really dive in and learn more. And it's just fascinating. It's really well written, but obviously it is not light. It is not easy. It is dense and a little disturbing and fascinating and sad and all the things that you would think of when you're reading about something like that. But I mean, it's really good, and he's written other things. He's a really good writer. I'm really enjoying this, and I don't read enough nonfiction, so I think this is really good. So highly recommend if you're up for something like that, which maybe you won't be, and maybe it's not the best time of year for you to be reading something sad, but that's really good. And then we'll see what else I decide to read. I'm mostly trying to, much like with my whips, read things I already own. I did go to Barnes & Noble the other day, and I try not to buy books on Amazon. I do have an Audible subscription, but I try my best if I'm going to buy physical books to support either Barnes & Noble or indie bookstores. I'm just very much about supporting brick and mortar and not supporting Amazon when it comes to books. But books have gotten expensive. I didn't realize like inflation hit Barnes & Noble too, because like there was a book I wanted and the line was too long anyway. But normally, I think I recall hardcovers being like $20, $22, $23. It was $30, and I was like, I love books, so books are always worth the cost, but do I really want to spend $30 on a book? And this one was by an author I hadn't read before, so I was like, on a book by an author I haven't read, so there's no guarantee that I'm going to love the book or not. So I think this means I need to get a library card, because I have not yet gotten a library card for the town that I now live in. So I think that's on my list of things to do this winter, because libraries are wonderful and also the books are free. So there's that. And I think that's everything. So if you've stuck around this long, leave me a book emoji. Let me know, are you reading anything really good that I should keep on my radar, especially something that was released in the last year or so. I haven't really been paying as much attention to what's kind of popular and what's hitting people's shelves these days. So let me know if there's any books I should check out, especially if I get my library card that I can go to the library and pick up. Let me know what you're stitching. Do you have 2024 plans? Do you have winter plans? How's everything with you? I hope your basements are dry and that the weather hasn't been too bad, because I know that a lot of people were hit with a lot of snow and rain and other crap. So I hope that you are all well. I hope you're all stitching and reading and staying cozy. And I hope if you watch football that you enjoy the games tonight leading up to the Super Bowl. I definitely like having it on in the background while I stitch. That's just like nice and relaxing, and Alex can watch it. And so that's the plan for this afternoon. So I hope you all have a wonderful week ahead. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all again soon.